was that? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of
What up, weirdos out there in Weirdo Land? I hope everyone's doing great. I want to say happy National Gingerbread Cookie Day.
Ugh, gingerbread, huh?
I think that's one of the shittiest cookies out there. Is that in the top 5 worst cookies? And if not, what makes your worst cookie list?
Gingerbread's up there. What about a oatmeal raisin cream pie?
Oh, get the hell out of here. That thing's delicious.
That's possibly number one.
Oh, yeah.
God, I hate those things. I hate the cream, man.
Can you hear Vicky?
I was going to say, I don't hear myself.
I can't hear Vicky at all.
Yeah. Did those knobs get turned? I haven't looked over there.
I don't know. There we go.
Turn those up.
Yeah, turn that thing. There we go.
Yeah, you don't peak, so you can crank
Oh,
it.
there she is.
You got
All right, bring that back a little bit, and then turn the knob above it just a slight up to the right as well.
To the right?
Yeah, you got to hock to it.
Well, it's all the way to the right.
Oh, beautiful. That's what we want.
So, do you want to start this over?
We can edit this. No.
We could always start this over.
Oatmeal raisin's my favorite. You know, the weird thing is sugar cookie, the dough is arguably my favorite. The cookie itself is one of my least favorite.
Really?
Wow, I have such conflicting beliefs when it comes to my cookies with everybody here, I feel like. I love oatmeal cream pie. Although, is that a cookie, oatmeal cream pie?
Isn't it 2 cookies bound
Yeah, just with some cream in the
with
middle.
a cream up in that middle?
To me, that's a pie almost. I don't know. Is that a cookie, Beckett?
A pie?
Well, you call an Oreo a cookie.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Good
True.
counter.
Facts.
That's
You're right. My bad.
Gingerbread cookies can be really bad if they're very dry and crumbly, but if they're kind of like soft and chewy and they got little gumdrops on there for buttons on the guy's, outfit, you can doctor up a gingerbread cookie a little bit.
Yeah. I think a gingerbread cookie is still very shitty, Beckett.
Well, because people would make the gingerbread house, and I go, that thing looks so delicious. And then I would eat it, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
I like gingerbread houses.
You like eating them afterwards?
I
They're so dry and
love eating
terrible. Ugh.
Okay. All right. I got to put an end to this bullshit conversation.
What about whoopie pies?
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
whoopie pie? Whoopie pies are amazing.
Ugh. God.
Dude, Vicky, what's
No, there's too much. There's too much cream in them.
It's so gross. You flooded.
I love a lot of cream. I love a creamy cookie. And the worst cookie out there is a Fig Newton. What's up with that bullshit?
That hardly constitutes a cookie, right?
That's a big debate.
It's been always a big debate. Well,
It's part of their marketing.
Well, figs, too. You got the wasps. They go in there, and then they die, and then you're eating wasps.
yeah, you think that's fig? That's not fig. That's wasp tail. All right.
Funny enough, wasps really like Fig Newtons.
Well, I can't.
It's a very waspy cookie.
I can't confirm or deny that, Becky. So the big question everyone's asking that we didn't get to last week was, how was Vicky's date? Couple podcasts before she had to leave kind of early. Vicky, you don't have to go into too many details, but the people do want to know, how was your date?
Right. So that one was a dud. I saw him 3 times, figured out we didn't have much in common, but I'm not going to jinx myself. I am seeing someone else.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I'm not going to jinx myself with details or being hopeful or anything like that, but just say first one dud, next one maybe.
We need to grab that the sexy saxophone for Weird and Whatever as well.
All right.
So when it gets a little hot in here, gets a little steamy, we can play that thing.
I like it.
Yeah, I love
Because
it.
things like that come up.
Things do come up like that. So, all right. We won't go into too many details. We don't want to jinx anything, but love is in the air, Beckett.
I hope so.
How you doing over there, lover?
Doing good. I'm trying to find my mother of my kids and my wife. So I'm dating very unintentionally lately.
All right, that's good. You've honed in on what you're looking for.
I'm not panicking, but I'm 42. I gotta figure this out.
TikTok, your biological clock is ticking?
Yeah. It's like Peter Pan and the crocodile, basically, at this point in my dating career.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, okay. Someone's got the baby ache.
Well, I got the baby fever for sure.
All right.
for sure.
Well,
Come volunteer at my school for a little bit. It'll cure you. Don't worry about it.
That's what all teachers say.
That's fair.
that's what a lot of parents say.
That is what parents say.
Let's get into some Ask Vicky. Vicky is our psychic medium. Everyone loves her. She's great. She's talented. She's also she has her own ghost investigating team. We'd like to ask her questions about the psychic world. Vicky, this week we got some good ones here. I like this one. Can you haunt two places at the same time if you're a ghost? For example, let's say you get murdered at one spot, and then somebody dismembers you and brings part of your body here, there, everywhere. Can you haunt two different places at the same time, technically?
Technically, yeah, because you would be traveling. You would go between. It's not like you would have a duplicate and it would be happening simultaneously. Now, the example you gave about, murdered and dismembered, you're either going to kind of hang around where you were murdered or you're going to hang around your loved ones. You're not going to follow your arm wherever it was.
Okay, so you can't be, let's say you got killed at the dump and half your body's there and then the other half is at, another site. At the same time, you could never haunt two of the same places. You can't have two ghosts.
You can't have two ghosts, but what you could have in the dump situation where you got murdered, you could have like a residual. So people may see you and they may think it's your actual spirit, but it's just a place memory that will pop up because it was something traumatic that happened.
I'm glad you bring that up because there's been some confusion, especially with the whole guardian thing you brought up last week about how you feel there's a guardian by my bedroom door blocking it. And you didn't think it was very friendly. Mm-hmm. I've got an update on that. We'll get it.
Okay.
We're going to get into, but the whole guardian thing. People go, I never heard Vicky talk about a guardian. And the question was, how many different types of spirits and creatures are out there? Can Vicky name off as many as she can? And it went into details because you talk about the creatures, the
elementals.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about the guardian. We've talked about the shadow people.
Yeah.
What is out there and how much is out there?
Honestly, it's kind of like when you talk about all the things in the ocean and that there's still things that we haven't discovered. When it comes to the paranormal, the possibilities are endless as to what kind of entities you come across. It also depends on what one person refers to them as opposed to what somebody else. You may be talking about the same thing. So it would be practically impossible to sit down and give a complete list. Also, you have people that can only see human spirits. You have people that can see human and elementals. You have people that could, claim that what they're seeing is demonic and all that. So it would be practically impossible to make a full list.
Beckett, we're talking elementals, demonic stuff, the ocean, life, thoughts.
The ocean thing makes sense to me. Like, you probably sounds like Vicky has like a certain amount of elementals, guardians, whatever that appear more, but who knows? Maybe if you go to a different country, different time, different kind of haunt, like you might discover something new. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, much like the dinosaur time period, is there a different time period for the evolution of ghost, of spirit? Has it always been like this? Or back in the day, during dinosaur times, was other things walking amongst the earth that we just don't know about?
I mean, there could have been, because we may not have documents from back then, but as far as hauntings and experiences with elementals, that goes back forever. Like, people have been talking about, way back in the day, seeing the ghost of Catherine Howard going through, one of the palaces, running away before she was captured and stuff like that. And they've been telling those tales, 50 years after she died, it started.
But not before humans. Right? Like those kind of ghosts wouldn't exist before humans actually existed on the earth, right?
Right, because those are human spirits.
And
Right.
you just wonder, before humans walk the earth, was there any kind of paranormal type of thing lurking?
Well, I mean, if you're going to look at biblically, there could have been what I call elementals. If those were, one of my theories is that when Lucifer fell with his minions, what I'm seeing and I identify as elementals might possibly be his minions.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have been walking here prior to, people.
Denny's, Lucifer, Minions, ideas, thoughts.
Well, one of the random facts I had was that there was that dinosaur ghost that would haunt that people had seen. So I mean, I don't think the ghosts are exclusive just to the humans.
Dude, dinosaur ghost sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're all pro. We all vote yes for if they could have the technology to bring back dinosaurs in a Jurassic Park like manner. Say aye if you're for that. Aye.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
everybody's down for
Yeah. Bring back the dinos, man.
that. At least some of them.
Bring back some of them.
There's some that are.
Not the ones that can wreak havoc on
I think
all.
they at least got to start with things that was our fault, right? Like, you can. Some people can make a case, hey, you can't play God, X, Y, and Z. They had their time. Well, how about things like the dodo bird and the woolly mammoth? We hunted the woolly mammoth to extinction. Like, we can eventually talk about T-Rex, right? But like, let's bring back the stuff that we made extinct, like the woolly mammoth. Like,
Dodo birds, they just came and killed them nonstop.
Oh, it's horrible.
Nah, man, we want the sex. Bring back the T-Rex. That's the sexy right there.
Yeah, that sells tickets.
Vickie, can psychics turn it on and off? They're talking about their psychic abilities, or is there no controlling it?
If you're, I don't want to say if you're good at it, or I'm going to say if you have good protection in place and you have learned how to control. Absolutely, you can. When I go in a public place, I'm not walking by people going, oh, her Aunt Edna was saying blah, 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 because I'm on vacation. I'm in a public place.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I hear something.
Do I hear music?
All right, I'll be right back. Y'all, we're not live tonight. It's been, again, quite a weird night here with the Weird Whatever podcast.
Yeah,
You
we're
got-
living up to the name tonight.
It sounds like that elegant ghost lady you have.
It's horrifying. I don't even know what that is, to be
Maybe
quite
it's
honest with
the
you.
video that kept running.
Oh, this video, we already
Yeah.
moved the camera, yet it's still alive. We can't figure it out. It's still
Vickie,
alive, too.
Has it not been very odd here with the energy?
Definitely.
Please let the audience know. I'll be right back, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, these technical issues have just been going.
Yeah,
What
they
is
don't.
playing in
They don't make
there?
any sense. So yeah, we reset the Wi-Fi and then maybe everything reconnected. Jeez, it took forever.
Yes.
We the modem had to do an update or something. I don't
Looks
know
like
what was going
YouTube
on.
was playing in there, but
Definitely feels like a haunt.
Well, we've stopped it so many times.
It says that YouTube is still live.
I know.
From my dinosaur garden, and people are commenting as if it's live, and it keeps glitching to make it look like it's live.
It
It's-
just
Wow.
it's crazy because that camera's been off for we're talking 15 minutes now.
Oh, at least. Well, I was filming it with my phone. Here's my phone right here. It's saying it's still in the yard live on my dino garden, Beckett.
Weird.
It's been weird.
I don't know.
It all happened an hour before.
Everything was working great until Weird Whatever started. People are blaming me for saying, "Come on, touch my balls." Last week when I was the tickler,
Yeah,
my ghost.
well, let's do a calmer challenge. So we have everything messing with technology. So if there's anything here, why don't you show up on camera this week? Since we're not live,
Yeah.
and you're already messing with Wi-Fi and a video and all that kind of stuff. Go ahead and show up on camera.
Yeah, right around Beckett's shoulder.
I was gonna say definitely just Jaybird's camera, not mine.
No, we want it on Beckett's camera.
Oh, we want you to tickle his balls.
Oh, now I'm in.
Change my mind.
Not to be an annoying dick, but is Beckett's microphone overmodulating a bit?
It's a little hot.
It's a little hot.
All right.
It could be me overmodulating.
Yeah, and I just know the first 11 comments are going to be, Beckett's microphone was hot. So if you did write that comment, I'm addressing it now
Mod.
because we're not
I
live.
have that effect on mics.
Yeah. Let's talk things that scared you as a kid that really shouldn't have scared you. My buddy's got a 4-year-old son, and he introduced him to the Muppets, and he had a meltdown. Didn't like Animal, didn't like Kermit, did not like any of that shit. And Muppets typically don't scare kids, do they?
No, I
No,
don't.
they're great.
No, I don't think. But they're great.
I know, man. I love the Muppets.
I mean, maybe they could be intense. Maybe because if you watch the Muppets TV show, there'd be some skits they do where there's 20 or 30 of them
Yeah.
on a screen, all the colors, the band, Dr. Teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so my little sister Becky, when we saw E.T. in the theater, And E.T. I thought was cute, lovable. Not for my sister. Scared the shit out of her. Was it, as a kid, was there anything that scared you? And it doesn't even have to be irrational. It could be what did kind of horrify a young Beckett.
Yeah, so I've talked about this. It was just before another podcast. In that, you know, a lot of like scary quote unquote movies didn't scare me. The thing that really scared me was the real alien thing, like on Unsolved Mysteries. And the thing that I brought up before is that Fire in the Sky movie. I was probably 13 years old when that happened. And that movie, my parents took my two brothers, my younger brothers, out of the movie theater, and I wanted to stay at 13. And when he went through the flashbacks on him on the alien ship, I was like hiding behind my mom. And at 13, I like slept in my parents' room for like a week. And I'd be like walking through the house, and I'd hear like the air conditioning or something come on, and I'd sprint through the house. It really messed me up. That's the most I can ever, other than Jaws when I was a kid. I didn't want to go in the water anymore. But
And if you don't know what Fire in the Sky is, it's based on a true story. And as far as I can figure out and what I've researched on, they've never changed their story.
Nope.
They've all stayed the same. They've all said, yeah, we saw him get abducted by aliens. Yeah, I think he's done some interviews before that are on YouTube. I forget his name.
He
I think
disappeared.
it's Travis Bickle.
It is.
That it?
Look at Vicky.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone's vying for the Spirit Award. I love it. Yeah, Danny, what were you scared of as a kid?
So it was weird. My dad, for whatever reason, I was asking him if he played any instruments when I was a kid, and he said the Jolly Green Giant came into his yard while he was playing guitar and stole it, and that's why he doesn't have an instrument. And so for a long time, I was afraid of the Jolly Green Giant, because my dad would go, he's going to come in the yard and steal something you love. And I go, dude,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
terrible. I go, the guy from the vegetable can?
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
So
dude,
I never bought Jolly Green Giant when I first went to college. I never bought it.
Dude, the giant fear is real. That's horrifying.
Well,
Imagine looking in your backyard and you see the Jolly Green Giant stealing your dad's guitar.
Well, he said he stepped over the fence, reached down, grabbed his guitar, and took off.
Sound like it struck a chord with you.
Oh, Beckett. Look at that. Blown out speaker 2. Mine. What about you, Vicky? What was yours?
Mine's strange. I think it probably was because my dad watched Westerns, so I had an irrational fear of being attacked by Native Americans
Oh, wow.
because of how they were portrayed
Yeah.
in these old Westerns. And I remember like figuring out where I was going to hide if there was going to be like a random Native American attack.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like back when they had like the Apaches and they were scalping people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
The
What about you, Bird?
It was fireworks. Somebody in my family, I'm not going to say who, I'm not trying to dox anybody, but they told me fireworks, when you looked up at the sky, that was people burning big piles of dead bodies. So anytime you saw fireworks, that was just fire going to the sky of dead
Oh my
bodies.
gosh.
And for some reason, I don't like the 4th of July, Beckett. For some reason,
It's rational, though. I feel like that's terrifying.
I shouldn't say I don't like the 4th of July. I don't like fireworks. I am just not a firework guy. I don't think Denny's is necessarily a firework lover.
I've seen them explode on people and in hands. My brother, we used to always just shoot each other with the Roman candles, and he'd laugh. Like, he went to go shoot one, and the thing just exploded in his hand. So, once I saw that, I go, I don't know if I'm going to mess with these anymore.
Yeah, and then there was a guy in my hometown in Lake Park. He had a bottle rocket, or someone had a bottle rocket, and they lit it, and it went into his eye.
Oh, man.
Lost an eye from a bottle rocket. This is all around the same time.
Yeah.
We went out it was a hurricane that went over. I forget which one it was. It was in the 04-05 era. And it was the eye. We went out in the eye, and we were shooting
Wilma.
off fireworks.
It was Wilma.
It was Wilma. We were shooting off fireworks, and the wind blew it, and it tipped, and it shot right up my friend's cargo pants.
Oh, God.
And it popped. Like, the smoke shot out the bottom of him.
What a shot.
Just the wind took it right up into it.
Well, with that story, I think it might be time. Oh, by the way, Vicky, great job on Ask Vicky. Very, very nice. Now it's time for some
Dennys Random
Facts. Our sweet Denny's does a great job just hunting on the internet, looking for the best factoids out there for us and for you. Vicky, our educator, she grades them. If she loves his fact, she gives him an A. If she hates it, she's been known to give the F and possibly the D. Denny's, the floor is yours.
So, at night, your sense of smell intensifies, making sense more vivid than during the day. The boost happens because your body's internal clock and the circadian rhythms heighten olfactory senses in the evening. They think maybe it traces back to Neanderthal roots, to where people smell better at night to help them get back to their home. Maybe they smell the furnace burning or something like that. They also thought maybe females trying to smell the most attractive male at night, the time that most people would reproduce. But just oddly, your body goes through circadian rhythms throughout the day, and your sense of smell fluctuates 3 to 4 times a day. So there's actually, if you're a smell person or a smell consultant, you got to figure out what times you smell the best, because your sense of smell will dull at least 3 times a day.
Vicky, what do you think? Do you smell an A? Or
Oh no.
oh,
No. B. I'll be generous.
They also think it's probably why people at night crave sweets, because your
Oh.
sense of smell is a little bit stronger, so they call to you just a little bit more.
Beckett, my bones ache right around 10p. Right around 10p is when I just yearn for sweets. Am I the only one that gets an aching for them?
I don't like sweets.
Get out of my house right now.
I really don't. I like savory. I'd rather have no sliced pizza.
I'm with you. Look, I don't just no competition here. I love salt. I love the salty
I'm a
salt.
salt guy.
Yeah,
I'm a salt guy.
I'm a salt guy too,
Salty
but
and-
I crave the sweets.
Salty and crunchy is my vice. You know, salty and crunchy. Yeah.
Right.
I'll pass on the cake all the time.
Oh man, every comment's gonna be about Beckett's microphone.
We'll see.
Okay.
What do you guys think about this? And it's kind of just a cool technique called the nudge technique. But in Japan, railway platforms saw an 84% decrease in suicides at stations after they installed blue lights. They don't think blue lights discourages people from suicides, but the positive effects that blue lights have on your brain nudges you into possibly not killing yourself, to the point where they noticed 10 years worth of data over 71 different Japanese train stations. They found there was about an 84% decrease in suicides. The only negative to the study is that during the days, this is obviously doesn't work, but they noticed it in mornings and in evenings and nighttime when most people would do it.
What do you think about that, Beckett?
I like it. I mean, it's worth a try, right?
Yeah, that's what they figure. It's so they say it won't discourage or encourage. It just nudges possibly that if you were going to, the positive effects from the blue light might discourage you subconsciously.
I like that. That's an A.
Okay. Look at that.
Tricky, right?
You
They
just-
should put those blue lights everywhere.
You just might make the honor roll yet.
I'm trying. I'm gonna claw back my way back, but
You know what we had brought up on the podcast that I'm surprised doesn't get more publicity, because I think it's such an important thing. Remember, like, we were on the podcast like a year ago, maybe a little longer, and they were talking about the new 911 for suicide prevention. Mm-hmm. What was that, 811 or something like that?
I can't remember, but I do like that.
yeah, I like that too.
So it exists, but like I don't understand. Like, if a tree falls in the forest, no one's there to hear it. You know, like, why aren't they promoting it? It exists. Like, anytime we talk about suicide, I'm like, here's a resource. If you're going through it, whatever. I'm gonna look it up. and bring it up. I just think it's important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's a
love
good
it.
thing
I
to
was
know.
thinking about that today.
It's a great service.
Yeah.
Look, and in a way, that's kind of technology, using tech for help. That's your segment.
Yeah, true. Okay, I'll bring it up then.
All right, I love it. All right, as you are, Denny's.
So I love old medicine
Oh gosh, who doesn't?
because of just the process of like when we see something poisonous, you're like, how many people had to drink that till they figured it out? Well, so the cure for impotence was a study that was taken on early on, and one of the best systems they found for curing it at the time was to soak people in galvanic baths and apply electricity to it.
And in layman's terms, if you are listening at home, that is also known as weak peen.
Yes. Well, so they originally thought it was a morale weakness. So they would try to get
yeah.
you consultation and stuff for your morale. They thought maybe it was just a person whose morale was so low that they were unable to perform.
Come on, Beckett, you can do it.
Maybe it's just a shitty marriage.
Or just maybe, sometimes maybe it's chemical. I think there's a bunch
medical
of
reasons.
Yeah, there's medical
Oh,
reasons.
there's definitely. This is just early on. That's what they thought. They thought maybe if you masturbated too much, it would cause it. If you masturbated too little, it would cause it.
Okay, the first part is not true.
You get that marshmallow.
So
Never heard of that? That's what it's called.
No,
I know.
what does marshmallow mean? I don't know if you. What's it mean?
Marshmallow pea.
Is it like whiskey dick?
Yeah, it's like,
Oh, it's so soft, like a marshmallow.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
ya.
Like noodle dick.
Noodle dick. Okay, gotcha.
So
Or needle dick. Sorry.
So after they thought the baths were barbaric, they came up with an even better system, which was to take a very small rod and to insert it into the urethra and then to apply electricity directly to that. They said it was one of the most painful things you could go through, and you'd have to do it 5 to 8 minutes long. You'd have to do it twice a week.
You'd have to do that in your Aretha Franklin?
In your urethra, Franklin.
Oh,
That would certainly make you sing.
Twice a week.
Vicky, I see you wincing.
Yeah, that's really hard. No pun intended. To grade.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm not gonna touch that one. We're just gonna.
Oh, Vicky!
That's good stuff.
I told you guys, we live in the best time ever to be alive, right? Like we
Beckett definitely has a boner right now.
my mic's a little higher. No, I mean, can you imagine? Like, that's the stuff people had to go through. Now you can get like.
Oh my gosh.
Now you get a pill for in the mail. People who take it, they don't even have ED. They just take it, to do all nighters.
People ain't struggling with Ed like they used to.
No.
This is kind of weird. So after the 2017 movie It, there was a spike in colrophiliacs, which is the attraction to clowns, and it was mainly in women. According to Sugar Weasel, a clown escort,
Sugar Weasel.
she says that most of her clients are women. They did a study on Pornhub, and they found that clown porn searches went up 213%.
Okay, now I have a boner.
And it was 33% women doing the search.
Look, to your point, we live in a time where porn is so available, and I think it's a time of liberation. Mm-hmm. It's not just dudes watching porn anymore.
No, it's not.
It is not at all. I think a lot of females watch porn more than they used to, without a doubt.
So colrophilia is the sexual attraction to clowns, mimes, or gestures. They think maybe from childhood, having an absence in it might cause this. They also think there's a thing called fictophobia, which is people who develop attractions to fictional characters. They think maybe there's an allure to, you don't know who's behind the face paint, so there's like a
stranger element.
They said that even people just seeing someone get hit in the face with a pie is enough to evoke arousal.
Okay, let's go around the room here.
I do think I saw Frozen. So.
If that was your significant other's kink, could you get through that? And it wasn't every time you guys had sex.
The
it
pie
was
thing?
It just the whole clown thing.
Wow.
One out of every fifth time you guys had sex.
One of you is just like...
Would I have to do face paint, or it's more of like face paint? I think I'm out.
Well, clearly someone's not in it. Someone doesn't have the
You
heart.
gotta break out. And...
All right, so let's say no face paint, but you do have to put on, and maybe she's the one that likes to dress up like a clown. She's doing the face paint. 1 out of every 5 times. Can you deal with that? Everything else in the relationship is amazing.
Yeah, I can deal with it.
Vicky.
1 out of 5.
That's so much.
Yeah, that's
Is that a
little
lot?
high.
That's a
yeah,
lot?
that's a lot.
Well,
Well, you got to realize with some people that's like at least once a week.
1 out of 10 then.
So that makes it better.
I'm in at 1 out of 5. Everything else is great. I'm single at 42. I'll take a little clowning.
Oh shit! His biological clock is too.
Small price to pay.
I kind of that one doesn't scare me. It's and all the clowns are horrifying. I like the idea. You're mixing it up. You're being weird. You're having
for
fun.
Sure.
What else are we gonna do? Like missionary, vanilla, quiet sex?
Oh boy. Yeah. All right. Put down that boner.
I like it.
Weird stuff, right?
I loved it, Denny's. What do you think, Vicky?
This grading tonight, I don't know.
I warned it was weird.
Sparked a lot of debate.
I guess an A.
What do you?
All
All right. So what do you think of this? There's a man named Kirk Alexander who ordered Domino's almost daily for 7 years. One day, he didn't. The store didn't get a call for 11 days, and the staff started getting worried because he always called. So they sent somebody just to check in, and they heard the TV on. They thought it was weird. Well, so they reported it to the police, who kicked in the door, and he had a stroke, and that's why he hadn't shown up. And they ended up saving him.
Wow.
all because he had such a routine. They also said what was weird, and this is the part that caught my attention, he never ordered the same thing. They said he had no regular order.
He just
Every
loved
order
Domino's.
was different. He just loved Domino's, and they thought it was weird that after 11 days they didn't hear from
So
him.
does that mean he had a stroke for 11 days?
He was on the floor, they said, for 4 days.
Oh.
That's horrible.
He survived and everything. They said if they didn't come and save him, he would have died. They saved his life, and he's still alive.
What are the irony in that? Because there's a chance maybe he had a stroke because of how he was eating.
That was one of the big comments in the forum was like, maybe Domino's is the one that gave him that stroke.
Thank God he didn't die 30 minutes or less.
Weird though, right?
Weird.
Just a random.
Vicky.
That's a B.
Okay.
Yeah, very.
Look,
Baloney.
just know as your bud, I would have given it an A. I loved it. Denny's great job. I love that. We talk a lot about the media and how the media these days can really manipulate people's emotions and feelings. And if you look back, and we're going to play the War of the Worlds clip, if you look back in the day, War of the Worlds really was one of the first moments in media history where people were driving in their car, they heard this program on the radio, and they thought the world was under attack by aliens. People really freaked out on this. You guys know this story.
Yeah.
Oh, let's play a little clip.
What year is this?
This has got to be, I want to say.
1938.
Okay.
Thank you, Denny's. Yeah, it's old.
We are bringing you an eyewitness account of what's happening on the Wilmuth Farm, Grover's Mill, New Jersey.
Ladies and gentlemen, am I on? Ladies and gentlemen, here I am, back of a stone wall that adjoins Mr. Wilmer's garden. From here, I get a sweep of the whole scene. Wait a minute, something's happening. Humped shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against a mirror. What's that? There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror, and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Lord, they're turning into flames. Now the whole field's caught up by the woods, the barns, the gas
Dennis,
tanks,
it's too much. It's enough. It's enough, Dennis.
It's spreading everywhere. Coming this way.
It's enough. But people heard that back in 38.
Oh my gosh.
And they thought the world was on fucking fire with aliens. And that just shows you the power of the microphone and just getting stuff out to the masses.
Totally. Well, when people listen to the radio for their news, and then they hear that, and they don't hear the disclaimer or something like that, like, of course, like, it's reasonable. It in some ways, it's more surprising that the producers of that did not realize that would maybe be the reaction.
Vicky, do you think they knew that was going to happen, or do you think they were just some guys having some fun, making a little play on the radio?
I mean, I would hope that they didn't think it was going to cause the widespread situation that it did. I mean, I hope that they didn't.
People.
But give them the benefit of the doubt, they just thought it was entertainment, and they thought it was cool to do.
Well, I'd imagine, too, that type of programming was somewhat new.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't think you ever used the airwaves like that. They would have regular program scheduled things, like they had westerns that you could listen to and stuff, but they never had news ever be that fictional.
And it came off like it was a news report.
Exactly.
Which
It
was,
breaks right into it.
Well, imagine if somebody did that now. Imagine if someone wanted to be a dick and go on a major news outlet and we are being attacked. People would believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, with the AI, well, in some ways, maybe AI makes people more skeptical. But I mean, like, the deep fakes are so real these days. Like, you could see something blowing up, like a national landmark, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, what's going on?
Well, that's the thing I'm having a tough time with all this. And I don't want to be a dinosaur and not want to say the technology's always bad, but I'm having a tough time deciphering what is real and what's not real, and it's only going to get trickier. And isn't that going to cause mass confusion without us really having any regulation on this?
And just think of all the time that you spend. Like, when I hear something, I immediately start Googling and pull up more than one article to see if it's real. But I do that automatically before I believe it. Look at all the
same
time
here.
that you have to spend doing that instead of just trusting that something's real.
And how do you know even Google is the right thing
I try to
be
find
doing?
3 or more
Yeah,
articles
multiple
about
sources,
it.
yeah.
Right,
You have
so
to, and then they have to be credible ones that
Well,
don't really.
you go into Google to search for something. How do you know you're even getting the top things? If Google wanted to, if Google didn't want you to find something, they could bury it if they really wanted to.
Google now, the top feature that you get is AI. It'll AI shorthand whatever you just typed in the search bar. That's the first thing you get in
Gemini.
Google.
That's your team, Beckett. AI.
Gemini. Yeah.
Those are your boys and girls.
But you can
AI.
use but the other side, like when the French first rolled out with tanks, then they started fighting tanks with tanks, right? Like, so, the reason we don't have nuclear war, hopefully, is because other countries also have nuclear bombs. That's what the smart scientist said. Like, we didn't want to build a nuclear weapon, but if we are, maybe it's better that everyone has them, because then it just assured mutual destruction. And where I'm going with that is now you use AI to fight AI, right? Like, you're like, okay, like, is this story true? Then you can go through AI. But it's like if you're whether you're getting your doctorate or you're doing a high school research paper, if you cite Wikipedia, you get an F. You get an F, right? But if you do like the New England Journal of Medicine, like you have like a respected source. Now, it's not respected just because it's the New England Journal of Medicine. It's respected because just like a person in a relationship, it's built trust over time, right? So you go to certain places, whether it's Reuters or NPR or like whatever you go to, you say, okay, like these are my sources, right? Like if I just hear a buddy tell me this, or I see something on Google AI or something on YouTube with some kid in his grandma's basement, like I'm going to be skeptical and I'm going to go to those trusted sources, right? And just like trust with humans, it's built, right? It's earned. So I think that's the battle. But I do see, AI will somehow, in some ways, be neutralized by AI, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And in a way, as weird as that
Well,
sounds.
robots are going to be fighting robots.
Oh, yeah,
the
well-
internet's consumed by bots.
We'll already be they're in prison by them, so it won't matter for humans. We'll be watching them fight as we're like, as we're dying.
It's true. And then robots are just going to fight amongst robots.
Yeah, and then we're just going to have a robot/human graveyard, Vicky.
Yeah, it's Terminator 2.
Yeah, that is. That's a Skynet's future.
Yeah.
Vicky, you worried about any of this stuff?
I'm going to be dead soon.
Wow, that is such a depressing statement.
I do, though, think she's right that by the time it gets to that level, it's going to be a couple because it's not. I don't think it's happening right now.
There's actually stories in the news right now. Now, whether it ends up being borne out to be true, but there has been a little bit of a dead end in AI development recently.
Well, because it's not as great as everyone thinks either.
So it's still mind-blowing. It still has mind-blowing potentials, but it seems like it's a bad analogy. But remember, they're like, oh, the Japanese economy is going to take over the United States economy, like back in the 90s and Nintendo days. And it's just like,
You think
there's a lot of hype.
You think it's all a lot of fear and not a lot of reality behind that fear?
Well, I think, this is where I would caucus with you. I think it's healthy to have fear. Just like I think, when the hurricanes are coming and people under-prepare and under-evacuate, that's more of a problem than people over-prepare and over-evacuate. So I think fear is healthy to a certain extent, right? You can't just be flippant and just let things go. But there is a case, I think it probably will be accelerated back up, but, it was just growing at such a fast pace and like the capabilities was going so fast. Now that exponential growth has seemed to slow a little bit, right? So, yeah, in some ways it's not cooking our food and having sex with us like we thought it would potentially right now and taking over our lives, right? So we'll see.
Okay, it's an interesting perspective.
Very interesting.
The end is near. The end is near.
So they kind of hit that same thing with computer graphics. It's now at the point where the graphics are good enough, the human eye can't really see much more detail. It's what they're now trying to do is get more fluidity with it.
Right. Like I remember playing video games in the early 2000s. You play MLB or whatever, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can only imagine what it's going to be like. And, back in the day, like people thought that Jetsons would be by the year 2000, right? Like, and it doesn't really end up bearing out like that.
But perhaps it is. It's just going at a very slow rate. I always
we
talk.
still don't have hoverboards.
Yeah, but we probably could have hoverboards, and just hear me out.
Okay.
It's kind of like the whole alien. I'm getting to another AI debate with them. I do think it's odd that in our entertainment, there's been things that have slowly leaked out to the public that we thought it was just fiction, and we're kind of seeing in real time that some of this stuff is becoming true. Like UFOs and like alien stuff. I'm just using those as examples, and I always do wonder. And it's a theory I've been hearing recently, is where people they think a lot of this stuff, this technology, has been trickled down slowly, so we don't lose our mind and freak out by it. What do you think
Get
about
too
that?
much at once.
Yeah, we get freaked out when we don't have enough toilet paper.
Right.
As a species, can we really handle UFOs and aliens and knowing there's something else out there?
I think it'll be with anything. You're going to have a certain portion of the population that's going to be able to handle it, and you're going to have the other ones that are hiding in a bunker.
Could you handle it?
Yeah.
Knowing that aliens have been here the whole time and they've been in our atmosphere.
Wouldn't surprise me, so.
Yeah, I'd be like, wow, all right.
I'm like, cool.
So you're not a big time believer, Denny's, but you're not at all surprised by it if it was to be true.
Definitely. I mean, there's got to be life out there. It's just a lot of it's like motive. I mean, are we that despicable? If it seems like we're going to take ourselves out, are they like really that worried? Like,
Well-
are they going to come out and study us? Are they just like, these guys are weird?
You wonder too, though, if they are, what they put in all the movies. Do they want our planet for resources, or are they trying to take us out for
For
that?
sure.
And is there a reason why they're not taking us out?
I think it's more likely if you're in a government like a Chinese government, when it's real authoritarian and draconian. Like the government, you have some stupid, crazy people that get rotated in and out of government all the time. And most of our, even our military, is private sector, right? It's all private sector. And sure, is the government in Area 51, whatever, maybe keeping some secrets because it's a national security thing. And I think that's when you get people to actually keep secrets, right? Like in government and positions of power, because as divided as we are, if it's a national security thing, they're like, I can't leak that secret, right? But the motive of capitalism, if someone's like, oh, we figured out a way to create a hoverboard, or we figured out a way to zap a pizza and it's hot in 1 second, it's going to be released to the public.
Okay, now you're talking. That's
Yeah.
the kind of technology. I want. No, you're right. When I was a little kid, I always thought, wouldn't it be so cool if you could just hit a button and all of a sudden, bling, a pizza just appears. But
Well, it's kind of like 3D printing, right? Like,
Yeah.
you in theory, I mean, you can build a house with 3D printing, right? You can build a shoe, you can build pieces for medical devices, you can do all that. So if you can mix concrete and 3D printing, in theory, you could have like a fridge of ingredients, right? All
Yeah.
refrigerated. And you could say, hey, make me a pizza, make me a cheeseburger, or whatever, and it could literally 3D print it.
can you help me with that on Saturday?
Yeah.
All right, let's turn my refrigerator into a 3D.
It'll be like Willy
pizza
Wonka
machine.
here.
Oh, well, that will finally make it Willy Wonka here.
That's the final.
But I love what a trick that would be. I love that. Let's talk murder. Okay, let's jump into some murder. If you had to guess the top 3 states that have the most recorded serial killers, what would you think they are? And it doesn't matter what order.
Historically, or like
As of right, just overall.
Present day, highest stat.
The most of all time.
What state?
They have the most recorded in the history.
my guess is New York.
I'd say Delaware.
California or Oregon.
Denny's is right with Delaware. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I thought I had
Delaware? What the
You jerk. I thought I had it.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You don't think Delaware gets a lot of murder?
No.
All right, well, shit. I fucking took a swing.
My guess is New York, if not New York, Mass.
So as of
Because it has such history there.
Oh yeah.
so it goes right now, and I was kind of shocked on this because I thought Florida would be in the top 3, and it's not. For the most serial killers. Now, Florida does make we're going to get into a couple things here, but number 3 is
Florida never disappoints.
Florida's always in the hunt.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Texas. Number 2, California. California does have a shit ton
It
of
does.
serial
Yes.
killers.
Humboldt County.
And then New York, number 1.
Oh,
Beckett
damn.
got one.
Mr. Beckett.
And Delaware was number 4, was it?
Now,
So you guys both got one on the top 3?
the 10 U.S. states with the most serial killings. This is different. Killings.
This is the bodies.
Who comes in at number 1? And they're kind of running away with it.
Serial kill has so a serial killer.
The
was-
most victims
Most
in the
victims.
history of their state. And of course,
I'm just going to go with Washington.
Oh, that's such a good guess.
And it's none of the states we've already said.
Vicky Washington's at 10. This is a different
Really?
question.
But what could it possibly have repeat states?
It could absolutely have repeat states.
All right.
So if I'm not going to go with New York on this, I'm going to go with Florida.
All right, Denny's, what do you got?
Well, if it's a repeat state,
Oh, it could be. Denny's, why don't you room a bit?
California.
Got it, nailed it. Denny,
I knew
you're
it.
back, baby. Yeah. According to this stat, which is, or according to this source, worldatlas.com, California, 1,700, approaching 1,800 victims.
So California and Florida are weird because they're so long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, California, you got number 2 coming in, Texas. I didn't realize
Texas is
No,
always
I
in
didn't
there.
know that.
Jeez.
I didn't know that either. I was kind of shocked on that. Texas is approaching 1,000.
I mean, it's also gigantic.
Gigantic.
Maybe.
I think California and Texas, correct me if I'm wrong, they have one of the highest populations. Too.
Yeah.
Well, and here's our girl coming in at number 3. Give it up for Florida.
Oh, all right. What was Florida?
Battle of the ball.
Florida's always in the top 3 of all the most fucked up categories.
Yeah.
Lightning strikes, shark attacks,
Yeah.
Everglades.
serial killing, Florida man attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is odd that California does produce a lot of murder out there. And it almost had a golden...
Do you think because early roots, a lot of people fled to California?
That is a great point, and I kind of do think that you were able to kind of hide out there a bit and almost kind of go unchecked, especially before technology. I mean, I just had a debate with somebody. Was it harder or easier to kill back then than it is today?
Oh, it's way easier.
I think it was way easier, and then they were asking, well, do you think, was it more heinous back then, or is it more evil and terrible today? I don't know. When you think no one's watching you, I think you can do some heinous shit.
Oh my gosh, unchecked.
Unchecked, I feel like you're gonna. Now I feel like there's so much tech. Not to say you can't do terrible things now,
For sure.
but would the evilness die down a bit because of the opportunity not being there?
I think they just murder and hop on their horse and ride away. You know, I think today, like, there's movies that inspired people, you know, kind of like the fame of being on the news.
There's
like,
different motives.
Yeah.
I think
there's
you're
all
right.
kind of- yeah.
I definitely think you're right.
I mean,
on that.
you're out in like some, you know, middle of nowhere, you know, Texas. You're like, what good is it to like torture this person for 3 days?
And it
Like,
doesn't matter.
Oh,
I mean,
they love it.
Murder's murder, no matter what decade. If you're committing murder now or back in the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
it's evil. I was just, you know, when you run unchecked and there's nothing to, you know, if you're out in a field out in the 70s and you know the cops are never going to come out there, are you going to do more just unthinkable things?
Oh,
You have the
sure.
advantage of time.
Yes.
There's not going to be somebody looking for this person
Yeah.
immediately.
Exactly.
That's the scariest. You ever driven through one of those
Oh.
towns that's just kind of run down? It's a
Mm-hmm.
little empty, and you just go, somebody's probably watching me drive.
There was one, I was ran out of gas in one of those towns, and thank God I mean, to the gas station. Because if I would have, it was so out in the middle of nowhere, you could see a million stars. I would have been so fucked.
There's a stretch from Arizona. So if you're coming from Texas to go to Colorado and you're cutting through Arizona, there's a stretch and there's 3 signs that say, for the next 40 miles, there is no gas. And then the next sign goes, you have 40 miles and there's not going to be a gas. And there's all these gas stations. And if you get breaking down right there, it sucks. You're 40 miles out.
When you're driving out there, is it nothing but stars?
So at night, if you're on a highway, especially in a deserted area or between cities, yeah, it's super dark. It looks like the sky, as I'm sure a lot of people have seen really dark skies. It's just so many speckles, so many stars that don't even exist here in Florida with the light pollution.
It's almost overwhelming for me. It freaks me out because I'm not used to seeing that. Anytime I go out of state and see, if I'm out in the woods or out in the nature and see that, it's quite overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit.
Well, think back, way back in the day. Think, Greek, Roman era. Like, I mean, the light pollution was non-existent. All you saw was so many stars.
And I always think too, back then, in olden times, hurricane comes through or a big storm and you have no idea.
No idea.
You'd have to think it's the gods, right?
Imagine if you're on a Christopher Columbus boat, you know, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's a little storm coming, and then you're in a
tempest.
you're in a hurricane.
Well, I mean, you would have to think it's.
You would take it personally. You'd
You-
be
you-
like, this
you-
is somebody spiting me.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that, especially you know, you don't know what the hell's going on out there, and all of a sudden there's a storm. You would think God's cursing you.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, you could think that's probably the inspiration for the great flood stories, you know, from the Bible or the
Well, that's what
epic.
That's what Egypt thought back in the day of the pharaohs when the Nile would flood. They're like, oh, it's the god of flooding.
Yeah, no, they're like, get us some virgins to sacrifice. Let's kill some goats.
Yeah.
Let's appease this god.
Back then, it sounds reasonable.
With that, let's go ahead and try to get into some Tech It with Beckett. What do you got for us, big guy?
All right, so the first thing, as promised, I looked it up. I think it's really important. So that number that is now available that I never hear anyone talking about, if you need any help or anything like that, you're feeling down, it's called, it's 988. It's a suicide and crisis.
988. All right.
Suicide and crisis lifeline. So I think we need to, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think that society should make that as well known as 911.
I love it, Beckett. That's very good. You know what? We can always throw that in at the end of the podcast.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's good stuff. Because you're right. 988, I don't think is on a mental recall for a lot of people.
No, you got 411, 911.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not going to be something I'm going to bring in, but I just ordered it. I'm curious what you guys think. It's a 30-day trial. It's an investment. I needed a new bed anyways. Have you guys heard of 8 Sleep yet?
8?
8 Sleep.
8.
So the number 8.
I got to be careful, Beckett. I endorse sleep number
This is
beds.
the sleep number man over
My number's 100. I like it firm.
Should I not do it?
No, I
Okay.
here.
All right. So I'm going to hold it up to the camera. So this is Mark Zuckerberg.
Can't see it.
Can you see?
No, it's a.
I got you.
Yeah.
This is a Zuckerberg product.
Zuckerberg sleeps on it.
That should come through good on the speaker.
For those who demand nothing but peak performance from every aspect of life, including sleep. It cools, it heats, it elevates, and it's clinically
Yeah, actually, you know what, Beckett? I actually can't play this.
Oh, you can?
Wow, it does all that though.
So I'm gonna tell everyone. So it's expensive, but it's an investment. You know, they say like sleep is one of the main pillars of health. Right?
Oh my gosh.
And Andrew Huberman talk about it. So it has AI incorporated in it, and it does cooling and heating.
So what's the AI doing in the bed? What's the point of
I
this?
was trying to murder you in your sleep.
What did they possibly want?
So it does all your sleep analytics. For example, say you sleep with a partner and you snore.
This is turning into this really will. I'll get in trouble for
Oh,
this.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay,
we'll get in
okay,
trouble
okay,
for
okay,
this.
okay.
Yeah,
All right,
it's-
we'll bleep it out.
We're gonna have to edit this part out.
I still love Sleep Number more, but that's cool.
So if you are watching the segment and wonder why it just got edited out, Beckett just started to do a bed commercial to compete with my sleep number account, and I would have gotten in trouble if we would have aired that. But next week, Beckett, bring it. Yeah.
I'll get a report.
More and more as you went on, I go, this is kind of sound like a commercial.
Fair enough.
Okay, here's an email. Dear Weird and whatever, how do I get myself out of this depression? I feel like I annoy everyone. I try to exercise, but most of the time I'm too drained from my depression to even take a walk. I was wondering if you guys had any ideas how I can get out of this rut. I hate my job, and I just went through a breakup almost a year ago. It left me very, very sad. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Lyle. Denny, what do you got to say to Lyle? Give him a pep talk.
I mean, depression's rough. It's tough to get out of. This
is the
it's
pep talk?
always it's always
Well, it's an interesting
it
pep talk,
gets
dog.
darker
Oh my
and darker
Oh my gosh.
before it gets better.
Between you and Becky. What?
No, I'm just saying it's a sucky mind state. I mean, sometimes time is one of the biggest equalizers, but I would say hobbies, finding something to be interested, something to get excited about, just try to find that, and it really does add a lot to your day.
Okay.
If you have something to strive.
After that inspiring pep talk, Vicky, what are your thoughts?
Let the darkness not consume you.
So what I have found when people need to kind of like restart themselves, kind of like a personal cleansing that would help take care of depression, whatever your zodiac sign is and whatever your element is. So let's say you're a water sign. So I would say pick up an activity where you're going to go to the ocean or you're going to go swimming or something like that. A lot of times if you pick an activity tied into that element of your zodiac, it will help. And ironically, the most basic thing that helps is the thing that you don't want to do when you're depressed, and that's move.
Yes.
And it prevents you from doing the easiest thing that you can do to cleanse yourself of it.
I don't know if you guys have ever been in a funk before and you make yourself do something extremely basic, and all of a sudden you feel good after just doing that one basic thing. And even though it's either making your bed or sweeping the floor or doing laundry or cleaning out your car, it's something that kind of can turn the tide a little bit. At least for me, to Vickie's point, move, do something, take a walk. I noticed that helps it's a mood.
does.
It's a mood interrupter. You're in a depressed mood, so you need something to interrupt that. And I love the idea of staying busy, hobbies like Denny's is saying, or getting up and just moving. It's a mood interrupter, and I do think that small adjustment can be a huge help.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. Very good.
Yeah, when I'm drunk or I was hungover from the night before, maybe made some bad decision, the first thing I wake up to is start cleaning my house. It makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Absolutely, immediately. The other thing is I had a motivational speaker, and I do it to this day. He said that if you ever feel unmotivated or down, do something you're afraid of. And if you do, whether that's skydiving, it's a pattern interrupter. And you go and do something, and there's something you're afraid of, you just get up and go do it. Be like, hey, I'm going to go skydive. I know it's annoying, but working out totally changes the chemistry of your brain and your hormones. Super important.
So I am scared of murder and stabbings. How do I handle that? Do I got to face it?
Yeah. Recording.
No. The one rule is don't do something where you might die.
According to this motivational speaker,
I mean,
you're afraid of murder, go face it.
I think it's the best way.
The other obvious thing is, like, of course, talk to a doctor, talk to friends about it, whatever. But now, just to throw it out there, talk to your doctor about there's different kinds of things. Like like a lot of things have been treating depression like a headache. We just give it Advil without fixing the reason you have the headache, right? So now with psychedelics and ketamine and different kinds of processes, medicine and research is looking at different ways to help rewire the brain that's actually helping, it's causing the sadness or depression or whatever. So
If you can't hug it out, drug it out.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. When in doubt, black out.
And to Beckett's point, I've been suffering a little bit with depression lately. And the weird thing when you talk about cleaning, when you make, poor decisions, when I actually get up on Saturday morning and OCD clean my house, it turns it completely around.
You feel better.
I feel better because
Yes.
number one, I'm moving. Number two, I'm satisfying my need to have a clean house. And number three, it just, when you have, it's the one thing I can control.
Yeah.
So maybe I can't control feeling depressed. I can control getting up and making sure my house is clean.
A clean house is so nice.
It really is. And I know for me, if I'm down and I don't have a complete project and I've been working, like, for example, the dinosaur garden was so incomplete for so long. And it's something as so stupid and silly as the dinosaur garden. If you're already in a bad mood and then something like that you liked is ruined, it's compiling and it's not getting done, you get up and move and you start to fix it. Oh, so, small. You don't have to try to do it all in one day, and it does turn around the mood. Getting up and moving, I think, is the lesson here.
Yeah.
So if you're down and out, move it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if something big seems intimidating, it sounds cliche, but it works. Start with the smallest thing and then you just start knocking down those dominoes.
It's such a great point. That's how I felt about the dinosaur garden, because the fence fell on it. It was growing. I lost money with it because of the plants, and I was down, and it was such a big mess.
Yeah.
And you're right, small little corners, and that it changed everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta start small.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you try to go on a diet and you cut everything out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too extreme.
You gotta at least keep the cake.
I mean, it took a million years, but remember, the Grand Canyon was created by water running through it over time, right? And just so you slowly start chipping away, and next thing you know, it's like the old cliche: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
And I know you always see that one quote. They go, man, it's the journey. When you look back, it's never it's never the final product that you really are so happy about. You look back and you always think it was the journey getting there. Do you think that's true?
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt. Listen, you could talk to all the Super Bowl champions, and whether they're aware of it or not, I think they would be aware of it. You could give them two options. You could go through a full season where you had a couple hard losses, you barely made the playoffs, you fought with your coach, you did all these things. When you hold up that trophy at the end, it is way more rewarding if you just fast forwarded and say, hey, we're going to place you where you hoist the trophy at the end of the game, and you won't go through all those trials and tribulations. You're still winning the Super Bowl. You're still getting that ring. doesn't feel as good.
Well, that's why I feel humans are wired that way, for us to develop patience, to develop, learning and kind of adjusting your thoughts and your attitude. And that's why on-demand culture makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants everything so immediate,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to develop patience if you get everything you want on the touch of a button. And you wonder why everyone's so aggravated and agitated. Well, I mean, you get everything like this, like this, like this, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work. You turn into a fucking mad person.
It's because we've literally all become dopamine addicts, right?
Yeah.
That's what the engineers on our smartphones have done. That is nicotine. That is Instacart and Uber Eats. That is, to Jay Bird's point, that is instant gratification. But what we're really talking about there is a dopamine hit you're getting, and we're just addicted to the dopamine. Bouncy
Constant
ball,
stimulus.
constant, and without any of the work, and it doesn't become as rewarding.
We're getting pot bellies and noodle dick.
Marshmallow.
Marshmallow, yeah. It's time to wrap it up. I do want to throw that missing person's picture up, Denny's, if you don't mind. If not, I can try to pull it up. But there is
I got it up.
You got it. Thank you. There's a missing person. It's a young girl. She's 15 from Port St. Lucie. And I wanted to just try to get this out there. Son of a biscuit, I don't have. Do you have the picture?
Megan Strobridge.
Thank you. Megan Strobridge. She's been missing for a few days now.
Last seen 11/15.
Yeah, could you read the details of that, please, Denny's?
Yeah, I got it up on the screen. She's a white female, 15 years old, Port St. Lucie, 11/15 last seen.
Yeah, she said last year at a party. So if anyone has any information, that's one of the segments I would like to bring back as well. If there's ever anybody missing, a missing person, especially here in South Florida, let us know so we can at least talk about it, put them on screen. That's important to us.
They say if you have any information, hit up 772-344-4236.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, we'd appreciate it if you go to the end of the podcast, take a look at the picture. And our last segment, I love this. Of course, we love to promote people who write their own music, original songwriters. Unlike AI, we like when you do it on your own. And this week,
except for Beckett's, we like his AI.
We do love. we actually got to get you a whole persona with your AI stuff. That'd be pretty good. But this week is a guy I know, Casey Durhack. I used to coach this guy a long time ago, and he's got a band that goes by the New England Kids, I believe. Or is that the name of the song?
That's, I believe, the name of the song.
That's the name of the song, yeah. It's Casey Durhack. Here's his song, New England Kids. Guys, thank you for listening to Weird and Whatever. We love you all, and...
Bigfoot is real.
There's a cardinal sunrise blooming from the east side. Wine-dipped clouds in a rose sky. Smells like Yuletide from the big pines. Black cup of coffee, waking up softly. Peach-painted leaves falling down off trees. Yeah, it's awfully like a movie scene. Golden stars shoot past Mars. Northern lights take me home tonight. Oh, rose fields of snow. You and me in an old farm home. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are. A campfire flannel in the back of the yard. Sweet Caroline at Fenway Park. Childhood memories coming on hard. Summer nights at the dairy bar. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are. Here in the height of mountains that hide us. Park and watch the bugs light up. Talk about weird stuff, real serious. Where nature's an expression, giving life lessons. You forget, sitting in possessions. This ain't heaven, but it's as close as it gets. Golden stars shoot past Mars. Northern lights take me home tonight. Old roads, fields of snow. You and me in an old farm home. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are. A campfire flannel in the back of the yard. Sweet Caroline and Fenway Park. Childhood memories coming on hard. Summer nights at the dairy bar. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are. I swear, I swear, I swear, I swear we are. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are. A campfire flannel in the back of the yard. Sweet Caroline and Fenway Park. Childhood memories coming on hard. Summer nights at the dairy bar. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are. Two New England kids at heart. I swear we are. I swear we are.